I'm trying to figure out if my hair is a hot mess or a hot mess. I can't decide. Anyway, hello starlets, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I make videos to inspire you to be the best version of yourself and live your dreams. So if you want to be an everyday starlet, be sure you hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to talk about how to get started on a weight loss, health, fitness, whatever you want to call it, journey. I have been very open here on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram, which be sure you follow me if you're not already, about the ups and downs that I've had on my health and fitness journey. And every time I post something about it, I feel like the number one question that I get asked, and I get messaged this a lot, is how did I get started? Like how, because I feel like that's the thing that everybody wants to know is like, where do I start? So I decided to make a video so I could give you my top tips for getting started on your health and fitness journey, have it be all in one place so that when people ask me, I can just send them to this video. So if you guys want to know my top tips for getting started on your health and fitness journey, then just keep watching. Now the first tip I'm going to give you is something that I actually really wish I had learned earlier on in my fitness journey, because I think it would have made things so much easier for me. And that is to learn from other people, but don't compare yourself to other people. What that means is you are your own unique individual. You have, unique DNA, you have a unique lifestyle, your history, your ancestry, your actual health history, your current health, your past health, all that stuff is unique to you. You may have some things in common with other people, but you are still your own unique individual. So you can learn from other people, people who inspire you, whether it be celebrities or whether it be social media, Fitspos or whatever. Like, you can learn from other people, but don't compare yourself to them because they're not you. For example, I know for years I wanted abs. Like, I wanted better abs, and I used to do every single magazine article, 6-minute abs, 10-minute abs, get Janet Jackson's abs, get J-Lo's abs, get everybody's abs and stuff, and I would always do those exercises, and I never had their abs. But that was also because I never had a low enough body fat so you could see my abs. But I'll tell you, my core is very strong because of it. And if I had focused on the fact that I was actually doing something good by giving myself a stronger core, I would have had a much more positive spin on the work that I was doing, as opposed to doing all the work and then just constantly being like, but I don't look like them. It's the same thing now with butts. Everything's about butts. Everything's about, get this butt. And you see these Fitspos, these gorgeous butts, or it's like, this trainer's like, how to get J-Lo's butt. I'm never gonna have J-Lo's butt. All right, I would love to have J-Lo's butt. I'm not gonna have it, okay? It's kind of like that that line on Friends. You know when like Ross goes to the tanning place to get a tan, and the guy looks at him and he's just like, what shade do you want to be, a 1, a 2, or a 3? And Ross is like, what shade are you? And he goes, Puerto Rican. Like, it's like that. You know what I mean? Like, I can do workout after workout after workout to get J-Lo's butt, but guess what? I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm a white girl. I'm always gonna have a white girl butt. Now, can I do those workouts and get the best butt that I can possibly have? Of course I can, but it's not gonna look like J-Lo's butt. This actually works for men too. I've actually watched a lot of like trainers and like male fitness people that talk about, Arnold Schwarzenegger being their ultimate, and the idea that like they wanted a chest like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so they trained like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They didn't look like him because not many people ever look like him, but at the end of the day, they got the best chest that they were gonna get because they put in the effort. So I'm not saying to ignore everyone online. I'm not saying to not listen to people, to not get inspiration for new fitness ideas or new fitness trends or health trends or anything. Like, I'm not telling you not to listen to people. Just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that it's going to work the same way for you. And I think it's so much better to focus on improving yourself and improving you and improving your life and what you have than it is to compare yourself to somebody else. It's like the famous Judy Garland quote, always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of someone else. My next tip would be, it's not as important how you start as it is that you start. There are a million different ways that we get in our own way when it comes to our health, when it comes to fitness, when it comes to nutrition. We're constantly getting in our own way. And I feel like so many times we're waiting for that perfect nutrition plan, or we're waiting for that perfect workout routine, and we wait for the perfect thing. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's just that you get started. It's that you do something to improve your health, that you do something today that makes your health better than it was yesterday. If you have this dream of looking like a marathon runner, but you basically just sit on the couch all day and, you know, are completely inactive, then just getting up and going for a walk is going to be so beneficial to you. Are you going to wake up tomorrow and be a marathon runner? No, but you're going to get one step closer by actually taking a step, literally taking a step and doing something. And I will tell you, I have tried so many fad diets, and I've been trying fad diets my whole life. I mean, I tried my first fad diet when I was 8 years old, and I'm so aging myself when I say this, but it was the one where you had a delicious shake for breakfast, another for lunch, and a sensible dinner. Tommy Lasorda was the spokesperson, and for everyone on YouTube that's going, who? Just, I'm old, just accept it. But here's the thing, I've tried a lot of diets, and some of them were great and some of them were horrible, but I never look back on any of them as failures. Why? Because I learned something about myself from every single one. Now, I would never tell you to do a fad diet that is dangerous to your health or anything. I think if you have any kind of health concerns or health risks, or you're very overweight, I definitely suggest you talk to an expert, talk to your doctor. You want to be safe and you want to do things that are beneficial to your health. You don't want to make your health worse in an effort to make your health better. But you know what? If you really want to try keto, or you really want to try going vegan, or you really want to try paleo, or you really feel like you're motivated to try it, just try it. If you feel horrible, then maybe it's not the diet for you, but you'll learn something about yourself. Pay attention to, you know, diets that you've done in the past maybe, or, you know, just try something and see what works and see what doesn't, because I guarantee you every program that you do, there's going to be things that work well for you and there's going to be things that don't work well for you. And if you start thinking about your quote-unquote failures as learning experiences, and you actually take from those the knowledge of yourself and what does work for you and what doesn't work for you, then they're never really failures. They're just things that will help you get closer to your goal. Now remember I said you're your own unique individual? Well, this is related to that. This next tip is to find your weaknesses. Now I do not mean like your problem areas. That's not what we're talking about right now. I want you to get that attitude completely out of your mind. What I'm talking about are the obstacles that you have as an individual to being your healthiest, to being your best self, to being better than you were yesterday. Now, if that happens to be that you have some kind of illness or something, then that's something that you definitely want to look into, because there's always options. And, you know, maybe it's a matter of, you know, you've been treated, you know, in Western medicine, but you want to try maybe some Eastern medicine or some nutrition plans or things like that. I'm not a medical expert, so I can't give you actual medical advice, but I feel like it is just a matter of being an advocate for your health and figuring out what it is that is keeping you from being healthy and from feeling good, and then taking the steps to actively improve it. Because I will tell you right now, you are worth it. I don't care what situation you're in right now. I don't care how you feel about yourself. You are worth being healthy, and you are worth being better than you were yesterday. You are worth it. You are worth the effort, and your health is always worth the effort. Now, I will tell you right now, I have always been I would say relatively active person, more or less so over the years, but my weakness is totally food. I've had, you know, a very difficult relationship with food over the years. I've had binge eating issues, and for me, food has always been my biggest hurdle. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. You know, we all need help. It takes a village, people. It really does. You know, I've tried a lot of diets. I've tried a lot of diet trends. I've tried a lot of things over the years, and I will give you my top recommendations. This is not sponsored by anyone. This video is not sponsored. I'm just giving you my honest opinion from my own experience. I would highly recommend Weight Watchers. I've tried them off and on several times over the course of my life. Some of the things I like about Weight Watchers that I have noticed over the years is that I feel like they're constantly evolving and they're constantly changing with new information and new knowledge, and I feel like they're not stuck in a rut. And you know, the Weight Watchers that existed in the 80s is not the Weight Watchers that exists now, and that's one thing that I really like. I'm not saying other diets don't do that. I just you know, I don't have a lot of experience with every diet out there, but I do have a lot of experience with Weight Watchers. I would highly recommend them for somebody who is just starting out, who is just lost. I've learned a lot of things from my experience doing Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers is actually how I lost the bulk of my weight as an adult. When I was in my 20s, I lost about 50 pounds on Weight Watchers. I learned a lot from the experience. I learned portion control. I'll be honest with you, I think that the point system is kind of like shorthand for tracking your macros. That's how I've always seen it, so it really helped me now that I do essentially track my macros. It also taught me about finding foods that are gonna fill me up, choosing foods that are more nutrient dense. I know that they have this whole kind of thing where it's like, it's your points and you have points and you can eat whatever you want with your points, but you really do end up having to kind of force yourself to be creative about, you know, filling up on, you know, low point foods, you know, like your, you know, high fiber foods, your, you know, vegetables, things like that, because you just won't feel full if you just eat the junk and use up all your points on that. Like, you can just eat junk and calculate it in your points, but it kind of forces you to learn that, like, all right, I'm not going to be able to do this and sustain it long term. So like, you have the freedom, but it kind of teaches you to learn yourself. But it also allows you to have a treat. It allows you to, you know, save up your points if you want to, you know, go out to eat. Like, it gives you that flexibility so you don't feel like you're structured and being forced to eat foods that you may not want to eat. I'm a very picky eater, I'll be totally honest with you, so I really like diets that give you some flexibility and let you eat foods that you enjoy, but try to make it work in your plan overall. That's just what works for me, because I believe that if you're just eating foods that you hate all the time, you're probably not going to stick with it. Another quote-unquote fad diet that I found to be really helpful to me, I did this a few years ago and it really kind of kick-started my sort of most recent journey with health and fitness, is I did Whole30. I have a whole video because I did kind of document my Whole30 experience, and I have a whole video talking about that. I didn't read the whole book, I just went with the guidelines from the website, but I think of it as like a cleanse where you still get to eat food. It's not like a liquid cleanse, you actually get to have actual food, but it cuts out a lot of food groups that tend to be things that people are sensitive to or that people tend to overeat, and things like that. The thing I like about Whole30 is it's only 30 days. And I think when you go into it and you know that you're only doing something for 30 days and you have that end point, it helps you power through, because you're not thinking like, oh my god, I have to do this for the rest of my life. You realize that like it's a set time period. Another thing about Whole30 that I really loved was the idea that because you had to cut out sugar, you had to cut out artificial sugars, there were a lot of ingredients you had to cut out. It really forced me to take a look at the nutrition information, the ingredients, the labels, and I actually managed to switch out a lot of foods that had a lot of hidden sugars in them and a lot of things. Like, I'm not a sweets person at all. Like, I would pick french fries over a cupcake any day, but I didn't realize how much sugar I was actually consuming in my diet. And I think that was a wake-up call for me, because I kept thinking, well, I'm not really, I mean, I don't eat sweets, so I'm not really eating that much sugar, but I actually was consuming a lot of hidden sugars and things. And I feel like I like doing Whole30 because it gave me sort of this, like, it empowered me to look at what I was eating and be more conscious about what I was eating. And I actually made some swaps. Like, I swapped out a mustard, I swapped out some of my herbal teas. Like, I swapped out a lot of things in my diet that I actually like better, and they're actually better for me, and they have better ingredients in them, and I enjoy eating them more. So I actually made some really positive changes doing Whole30 that have carried over for, you know, years since I did it. Another thing that Whole30 taught me was it got me out of my routine, which I think was really important for me, because it really showed me what I missed in those 30 days. Like, what were things that I eat that I really missed, that I kind of wish I could have eaten in that time. And it also showed me the things that I was just eating out of habit in that time. So I didn't really need to go back and eat them, because, well, I didn't really miss them, so what was the point in me eating them? I realize Whole30 is kind of a drastic diet, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. I will tell you, if you're vegetarian or vegan, it's almost impossible to do Whole30, so. But for me, doing something like that, I found really helpful. What I currently do right now, I guess you would call it like an if it fits your macros. I'm not super strict with it because for me, I do better if I eat the same foods every day. I basically like my, you know, my breakfast, lunch, snack are the same, and then I sort of have a collection of dinners that I sort of like vary throughout the week. So I generally know, and then, you know, if I am going to, you know, go someplace or you know, if something is going to change in my diet, then I will either just say, okay, you know, if it's just once or something, I might just be like, all right, I'm just gonna, you know, not worry about it for this one time. Or I'll see like how I can move things around to try to make it fit into my macros, but I'm not like obsessive. I know there are apps, people swear by MyFitnessPal. Personally, I just have a spreadsheet that I use, and because I'm old school, because I'm old, that's just what I use and that's what works for me. At the end of the day, if you choose to do a diet or whatever kind of nutrition plan, at the end of the day, the reality is there's no magic formula. There's no like magic secret food or, you know, diet plan or anything that is just going to miraculously change your health and your diet. It just doesn't exist. And there are people out there that will tell you that they found one that was a miracle, and maybe it was a miracle for them because it really worked for them. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be a miracle for you. Remember I said we're all unique individuals? In reality, if you want to lose weight, not saying that has to be your goal, but I feel like that's what a lot of people's goal is. So if your goal is to lose weight, then, or lose body fat specifically, then at the end of the day, you have to be in a calorie deficit. That's just how it works. You have to consume fewer calories than you expend. And that's just basic science. If only it were that simple. Reality is we're not simple creatures, and actually getting ourselves into a calorie deficit is a lot harder, especially in our crazy mixed up world that we're in. So all these diets do are tricks to keep you in a calorie deficit. That's what keto is. That's what intermittent fasting is. That's what paleo is. I mean, all those diets they're designed to help keep you in a calorie deficit. You cannot be in a calorie deficit and do all those diets, but these diets are really just designed to help you get into a calorie deficit. The reason why there's so many diets out there is, again, because we're all unique individuals, and it's different diets and different techniques that are gonna help us get into a calorie deficit. So it's really a matter of what works for you, and like I said before, it's not really a matter of which one that you do. It's a matter of that you try something to try to get yourself out of the rut that you're in, because if something's not working, you want to see how you can fix it. Another food related tip that I will say, and this has been a huge game changer for me, is to focus on how you feel. It's 100% the most important thing. I know we all get so obsessed about how we look, and I'm guilty of it too. I do a few squats, I'm checking out my butt in the mirror, I'm like, hey, do I have a booty yet? Still not Puerto Rican, gotta say. Really the important thing is, how do you feel? And this was a complete game changer for me, because I feel like we get so caught up in foods and the enjoyment of foods, but we never really pay attention to how we feel after we eat foods, or we do after we eat them and we're miserable. I read an interview with Tracy Ellis Ross, who I love, I adore her, and she said that her sort of diet trick, so to speak, is that in order for her to eat a food, it has to fit 2 criteria. It has to taste good while she's eating it, and she has to feel good after she eats it. So like she says, for her, French fries, which is my personal favorite too. French fries, she loves eating them, and she feels fine after she eats them. So if she wants to treat herself, she'll eat French fries. Cheese, she loves eating, but after she eats it, she feels terrible, so she doesn't eat cheese. You know, I mean, I think sometimes we get so caught up in the enjoying stuff and like that instant gratification of enjoying something, and we don't pay attention to how it makes us feel afterwards. Which, if you think about it, is kind of what addicts do. Right, it's that instant gratification and not thinking about the consequences. And for me, when it comes to foods, it really helped me to focus on, how is this food gonna make me feel after I eat it? Is eating this food going to, you know, am I gonna have a fun night? Like if I go out with friends and I eat some big, heavy pasta meal, I'm gonna feel like crap afterwards. Because for me, pasta, I used to eat pasta all the time, and I don't even know how I did it now, because just like regular, ordinary pasta, I can't even do it. I can't even imagine. I I'll be like bloated for a week and I'll gain like 15 pounds in a night. It's unbelievable. Like pasta just makes me feel horrible. So at the end of the day, I eat it, but then I'm miserable the rest of the night. I don't want to hang out. I don't want to socialize because I just feel like crap. And it's not worth it to me, because food is definitely an important part of life. Food is definitely something that we should enjoy, and I would never tell people to not enjoy food. But at the end of the day, it's not the only thing in life. So I encourage you to think about eating a diet that makes you enjoy your life, as opposed to creating a life that makes you enjoy the food that you're eating. You know what I mean? Or having your food determine what your life is. There's so many other parts of life that you should enjoy as well. And food can be an important part of your life, but it's never going to be the only part of your life. And I think if it is the only part of your life, then maybe we need to improve on that a little bit. And again, that goes for foods that are not just for, you know, whether you feel bloated or whether they make you gain weight or anything like that. That goes for a lot of other things. I know for me, and I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I cannot emphasize it enough, is if you are having, especially for women, I don't know if this affects men the same way, but if you're a woman and you're having really bad acne problems, cystic acne problems, cut soy out of your diet. I'm not going to guarantee that it's going to fix things, but it was a game changer for me. I cut soy out of my diet and my skin improved so much. I can't even explain to you how much it improved. My skin used to be so bad, it would look at times like my skin was trying to like reject itself. I had so many breakouts. And cutting soy out of my diet, which is hidden in a lot of things, so you have to really look for it. But because I cut soy out, it cut a lot of foods out of my diet. It cut a lot of processed foods, a lot of foods that had fillers in it, which, you know, made my skin a million times better, but it was also better for my overall health. So, you know, I'm not saying that you have to eliminate soy, but I really believe that a lot of people, I mean, and I know it can be expensive, but at the end of the day, I see a lot of women, especially here on YouTube, like beauty gurus and stuff, that are getting such bad acne, and they spend so much money on skincare products, and they're just like dumping all this money into skincare products, and then you'll see them on Instagram and they'll have some kind of like processed food and like, oh, I'm eating this, oh, it's not so bad. And I'm just like, I just want to be like, oh my God, if you were to like cut out that food and actually eat something that doesn't have like soy and fillers and all kinds of chemicals in it and stuff, you know, and spend maybe a little bit more money on something that maybe is a little bit better for you, you wouldn't have to spend that kind of ridiculous amount of money on skincare. I could go on a whole other rant. And if you guys want to see, I have my skincare routine in a video on this channel if you want to see it. I'm 39 years old and people are always like, how do you get your skin to look like that? I have a video all about it. If you guys want to see a video on my top foods for improving your skin, I'm thinking about doing that video, so thumbs up this video if you want to see that. Now, to piggyback on a few things that I said in the last tip, because some of these overlap a little bit, but my next tip is to change your mindset. Part of that involves what I said before about focusing more on how you feel than how you look, because I think that is so important. And I think if you focus on being healthy and how you feel in your body, and again, how you feel, not how you're being told to feel, but how you feel in your body, then I think, you know, your appearance is naturally going to improve. You know, you're probably going to appear more fit, your skin's going to glow more. Like, if you're being healthy and you're treating your body in a way that your body wants to be treated, it's naturally going to, because honestly, being healthy and treating your body well is attractive in itself. It's naturally going to make you look better because you're going to feel better. So I think changing that mindset to having it just be about, I need to do whatever I need to do to look a certain way, focus on feeling better about yourself. Another thing when it comes to mindset is, you know, I really can't go into mindset without talking about some kind of heavy stuff. I know I suffered from binge eating a lot, and for me, I actually, you know, had to come to terms with the fact that a lot of that binge eating, which I think, you know, goes along with a lot of other sort of really negative eating disorders and stuff, for me it was a form of self-harm. It was me feeling like I didn't deserve to feel well. I would like binge eat until I was in pain, and it wasn't until actually, you know, recently, you know, within the past few years, that I discovered that really what was going on was I just didn't feel like I deserved to feel good. I would go through a bout of depression and feel like I'm just gonna force feed myself food because I don't deserve to feel good. I'm gonna eat until it hurts because I don't deserve to feel good in myself. And I think a huge thing, and I said this earlier, but I'm going to say this again, is you are worth improving your health. You are worthy of it, no matter what you're going through, no matter how you feel about yourself, no matter what your significant other says, or no matter what your family says, no matter what anyone says. You are worth it, and you deserve to feel good. And I think you need to remind yourself of that every day. If you have to get up every morning, look in the mirror and say, I am worthy, I am worth it, then do it. You are. I'm telling you, no matter what you think right now and what you feel, and you know what, just keep saying it. And you know, sometimes they might feel like hollow words. Sometimes you might not really believe it, but keep telling yourself that. Keep reminding yourself that, because eventually it's just going to become, it's like any habit. It becomes a natural part of your day when you realize that you deserve to feel good. Part of mindset too is also remembering your why. And I think I remember this very distinctly because I've noticed a lot of correlations between, you know, having a really, you know, unhealthy, you know, lifestyle choices when it comes to your health and drug addiction. I've never personally had a drug addiction, but I've known a lot of people that have. And I remember watching I think it was Celebrity Rehab or something like that. And I don't remember who it was specifically. I think they were talking to Dr. Drew, so it was probably Celebrity Rehab. And one of the guys that was talking was saying how he wanted to get clean and sober for his daughter. And I think it was Dr. Drew said something to him about how, well, I mean, that's all well and good, but you have to do it for yourself first. Like, it has to be for you first. And I think a big part of getting healthy, you know, whether that be, you know, nutrition or fitness or whatever it means to get healthy, it needs to come, you need to figure out your why. And I feel like that why needs to be for you. It needs to be something in you that you experience, because if you put it on somebody else, if you put it outside yourself, on even if it's somebody else that you care about, it's still too easy for you to back out because it's not in you. You know what I mean? So like, instead of saying, I want to do this, I want to do this for my kids. You know, if you want to get healthy and you say, I want to do this for my kids, instead of saying that, say to yourself, I want to be there to see my kids graduate from college. I want to be there to walk my daughter down the aisle. I want to be there to be an active grandparent when I have grandkids. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes like that you want this thing. You want this experience, that being healthy and taking care of yourself is going to get you to that place where you can be vital and active for things in your life that you want to be a part of. It's like, yes, a part of that is for other people, but it's still more about you and what you want out of life. Another thing, I think single women are very guilty of this, although I'm sure a lot of people, you know, that aren't just single straight women that deal with this, but you know, a lot of us girls, and I've been guilty of it too, like, you get in that place where you feel like, I have to lose weight, I have to diet because I that's what a man's gonna want, like, that's how I'm gonna get a man. And I've definitely fallen into that issue over the years in the past, where it's like, well, I gotta lose weight because I gotta get me a man. But then you eventually start to resent all men, because like, when the times get tough, when things get difficult, you end up turning around and being like, resenting all men, because you're like, well, they should just like me for me and I shouldn't have to do this. And you know, at the end of the day, like, of course you want a guy who loves you for you, but you're not going to attract someone unless you are presenting to the world your best self. And your best self is confident, and your best self is how you feel good. And that doesn't mean that you need to get yourself into some certain look or have some certain look or image in order to attract other people, whether that be romantic partners or friends or anything. But when you are taking care of yourself and you are at your most confident in your best self, you're naturally going to attract people that you want to attract around you. So at the end of the day, instead of saying like, I need to do this to attract a man, I need to do this to attract the right person or whatever, it should be more about, I want to present to the world my best, most confident self. So I'm taking the steps to make myself feel my very best, because when I feel my very best, the right people are going to come to me. That's more that's just, it's a healthier mindset. It's a mindset that is just it's gonna sustain you a lot more in those tough times when you feel like giving up and when you feel like it's just not worth it, or, you know, because times are gonna get tough. It's a journey. If it was just, you know, if it was just easy, we would all do it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody would be fit and healthy if it was easy. It's not always easy. And during those tough times, you need to remind yourself why you're doing it. And that why needs to be something that is like, it's in you. It's not projected onto other people. Now, I know I talked a lot about food in this, but, you know, fitness is super important. Fitness is a super important part of my life. But for me, it's less of a struggle on my journey because I actually really love fitness and enjoy fitness. So I think, honestly, like, the number one thing I would say is find something that you enjoy. And I mean, I know that can be difficult, and I know that can be challenging, and sometimes you just have to try a lot of stuff. But, you know, honestly, the important thing is that you get moving, that you get active, especially if you've been inactive. You know, you want to make sure that you do something, you want to do it safely. If you've never been to the gym before, maybe it means signing up for some sessions with a trainer to get you started. Maybe it means taking a class. I will tell you right now, figure out what works for you and what works for your schedule, because if it does not fit easily into your schedule, you're not going to stick with it. You got to do it. For some people, that means, you know, investing some money in something because they'll take it more seriously if they've already invested money in it. For some people, maybe it's just working out from home. That's personally what I like to do because, I don't know, I'm a loner. I've always been the type that the hardest part for me when it comes to working out is getting started. Once I start working out, I'm usually pretty good. I'm usually pretty okay, but it's just like getting myself started. So, you know, do what you gotta do. I mean, I honestly lay out your workout clothes, you know, the night before, you know, or, you know, if you are going to work and you're gonna work out afterwards, just make sure that you know, the night before you have like your, you know, change of clothes packed or whatever, like whatever you need to do to make the process easier for you. And, you know, because the easier it is in your life and the fewer excuses you give yourself, the more likely you are to do it. And, you know, honestly, I don't dread my workouts. People ask me all the time how I get motivated to work out every day. It's ingrained in my routine now. It's a part of my routine, and if I don't do it, it feels like something's missing. I really love my workout time because it's my time. It's just time that I get to spend for me. I don't pay attention to my phone except, you know, to play music or something. But like, you know, I don't answer, I'm not on social media when I work out. I don't, you know, I don't respond to texts or anything. Like, my workout time is me time. It is my time to do what I want to do. That's just what works for me, but it's really a matter of what works for you. You know, if you feel like you need, like for me, if I felt like I needed to coordinate with another person to have a workout buddy, it would just be so easy for me to just not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that person. Whereas, you know, if you're somebody who needs somebody else to motivate you, then by all means get a workout buddy. I mean, it's really a matter of like, it doesn't necessarily matter what you do, it's that you do it. Like I said before, it's not, you know, it's not what you do, but it's just that you get started, you know? And when it comes to anything, and I think I probably have mentioned this at some point, I'm sure this video is long at this point, but when it comes to anything, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you feel like, you know, you're just not getting anywhere with your nutrition, again, which is one of the reasons why I like resources like Weight Watchers or things like that, but, you know, if you want to see a nutritionist, whether it be somebody who is more holistic or more of like a registered dietitian or something, whatever you feel like it would work the best for you, whether it be, you know, signing up for a personal trainer or taking some kind of a class or something, don't be afraid to ask for help, because like I said before, if getting healthy and getting fit and being your best self was easy, everybody would do it. And I think we can all walk around and we can look around and see that not everybody is doing it. So if you feel like you need help, if you feel like you need to go to someone who can help customize something for you, I mean, I know a lot of times it's expensive, but you know, it's an investment in your health, you know what I mean? And investment in your health is like always a good investment. Okay, I'm sure this video is already really long, but I actually asked you guys on Instagram if you guys had any questions. I had a question, how do you stay motivated and prevent self-sabotage? And I actually had another question which is very similar. How do you get through an intense craving like comfort food? Because I feel lonely a lot. And I'll be honest with you, I think those questions are kind of the same, so I'm gonna kind of address them. For one, I know from my own personal experience because I suffer from anxiety and depression. It's a vicious cycle, you know. You start feeling depressed or feeling anxious, and you start to kind of feel like giving up. And when you start feeling like you want to give up, that's when you start eating comfort foods. You start getting more cravings. That's when the self-sabotage starts. The ironic thing is, as you do that, the foods that you're then eating a lot of times can make the problem worse, especially when you start getting into sugars because, again, I'm not a medical doctor, but there's been a lot of research, and I know I've experienced it personally. If you consume a lot of sugar, it can actually really aggravate anxiety. Also, you know, if you're depressed and you're eating a lot of foods that don't feel good in your body, that either cause you inflammation or they cause bloating or whatever, or they make you feel heavier. You know, when you feel depressed, I don't know if this is the same for everyone, but I know it is for me, like you feel heavy, like you feel like the weight of the world is on you, and that like you're going for things that now make you feel even worse, and you're kind of like crawling into your shell. Some of the stuff is some of the stuff that I've mentioned earlier, but I wanted to address it specifically. One, part of self-sabotage is really just not feeling like you're worthy and not feeling like you deserve to feel good. And like I said before, whether you believe it or not, you gotta tell yourself that, because you are absolutely worthy of feeling good. You are absolutely worthy of being healthy. You're worthy of feeling better, and you're worthy of doing things to make you feel better about yourself. 100%. I think you mentioned feeling lonely. I mean, I'm extremely introverted, so I definitely know. I mean, I have a tendency to isolate, and I feel lonely a lot at times, and I know that that's been a big issue for me. So I get how you feel. I think sometimes, first of all, I mean, if you're feeling depressed or anxious or something and it's getting really bad, I definitely suggest you talk to someone, or get help, or something. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you don't have to go through it alone. And I know sometimes it can be hard to reach out for help, but I definitely think it's important that you reach out to someone, and to someone who can help you. Focus on things that give you comfort other than food, you know, and maybe it's a matter of like forcing yourself to kind of go someplace and be social, which believe me, I know can be difficult because I have social anxiety, and I know it can be really challenging, you know, or just, you know, surrounding yourself with people that are in your life that you do care about, or finding a new hobby, or, you know, doing something. And whether they be fitness related or not, I mean, if it is fitness related, if you are actually going out and maybe, you know, taking a class or something, you know, whether it be fitness class or doing something, it gives you other human contact. It gives you other people around you, so that can help you feel a little bit less alone. And I think especially if you are, you go to a place, you know, obviously you want to go to some place that's supportive, maybe a place for beginners. Like if you want to take a dance class, you can take a dance class at a place where everybody there is a size 0 and they've been dancing their entire life, and it can make you, I've been to those classes, and it can feel really weird because like everybody seems like they're like a professional dancer, and it can feel really intimidating. And I understand that. And if you're, you know, in a class and you just feel like I'm just way too intimidated, I don't relate to people, maybe it's not the class for you. But there are also places you can go if you want to take a dance class that, you know, it's very, you know, body positive, and there are people of all different shapes and sizes, and you know, people are motivated and excited, and you have people of all different levels, so like you never feel like you're just completely a complete beginner in the class. I just think it's beneficial to like try different things, and then in doing that, you're gonna have other people around you. And you know, whether or not you end up actually making friends with any of them or not, I mean, that's just something that may happen over time, but at least you're not feeling like I'm alone in the world. And I think especially if you start taking classes for, you know, beginners or things like that, then I think that you realize you're not the only one out there. And I also think too, you know I get in a habit of just paying attention to myself a lot and being in my own head and putting a lot of pressure on myself. But I think sometimes like just going to the supermarket, and like there are times I'm in the supermarket and I like beat myself up because I'm like, oh my God, did I get the healthiest version of this whatever, or am I getting enough vegetables, or am I this? And then you look in like other people's carts, and it's like, it's all just like sugary sodas, and it's all junk food and stuff, and like, then I start to be like, you know, I'm not doing so bad. Like, I'm not doing, and I think sometimes it's just like observing around you and seeing that there are other people around you and there are other people struggling. You know what I mean? There's other people that are having a hard time and stuff, and, you know, whatever it takes to realize you're not alone. Like, anything you're going through, and as much as I say you are a unique individual, because you are unique, and your story and the combination of everything in your life is unique to you, but any one thing that you're going through and that you're feeling, I guarantee you there are other people that are feeling it too. And I think, you know, maybe, you know, going online and reading about other people that are dealing with it. I know for me, when I started YouTube, I mean, when I first really started going through like my panic attacks and my anxiety and depression and stuff, people weren't really talking about it anywhere here on YouTube or anything, and I felt like I was the only one. And I started, you know, the more and more people started coming out and talking about it on social media and stuff, I started to realize how many other people were dealing with the same thing, and it really made me feel so much less alone. So, you know, whether it's just realizing that whatever you're going through, there are other people going through it too. And I understand with comfort foods, but I think sometimes maybe finding something else. And again, like I said, in your diet, like, you shouldn't be eating things that you hate eating, which is why I like things like If It Fits Your Macros, things like Weight Watchers. I like things like that because it doesn't, it's not forcing you to eat things that you just absolutely despise. It's letting you kind of decide what foods you enjoy and what foods you don't, and trying to get it to fit into your lifestyle, which are things that, it's something that I really like. And I also think that eating foods that make you feel good because you know that you're worthy of it, it's things like that that I feel like are more beneficial, so that, you know, like I always say when people talk about, you know, like, don't diet on vacation, and my thing is, like, I feel like if you feel like you need a vacation from your diet, it's not the right diet for you. And, you know, you should be enjoying what you're eating so that you don't necessarily feel like, I need this thing. But I will also say, like, when it comes to sugar cravings and when it comes to things like that, like if you crave sugar or things like that, I've significantly cut down on my sugar intake over the past few years. And it's difficult at first, and it's a struggle at first, but I will say, like, once you're out of it, once you're kind of like over a certain point, I crave it a lot less. And also when I do have it, I need a lot less of it. I'm sort of desensitized to it at this point. So, like, things that used to taste good end up tasting too sweet to me. So I will say, definitely when it comes to especially cravings and things like that, is that, you know, if you can power through and get yourself sort of like over the hump, so to speak, in the beginning, it gets easier. It's the same thing with, you know, getting into routine and getting into a habit. Like, when you're in the beginning and you're starting out, you power through. Like, there were a few people that asked me in a Q&A that I did recently about motivation and how do I stay motivated. I don't give myself the option of not being motivated, 100%. Like, I just don't give myself the option, especially in the beginning when you're first starting out like if I'm starting out a new workout program or something, I just don't let myself not do it. You know, I make it work. I make it happen, you know, because there's a lot of things in life that, you know, we can make happen if we just say we're going to make them happen. And I've had people, like, when I've started out, you know, maybe a new nutrition program, or I've started out, you know, a new fitness program or something like that, and I've had people in my life that are just like, well, if you miss this, or, well, if it gets a little difficult, you can just skip it this. And I'm like, no, I'm not skipping it. I'm not doing it. I don't let myself have that mentality. Now, once I'm in something, and once you've made something into a habit, if something comes up in life and you have to miss something, or something comes up and you need to do this, or, you know, if something happens, once you're in it, once you've hit that, and I forget what it is. I think it's like if you do something for, like, I don't know if it's 30 days or 60 days or something, it becomes a habit. Like, once something is ingrained in your life, and, you know, you have a night out, or you have a, you know, you have to miss a day of working out because of something. Like, once it's been ingrained in your routine, a little slip up here or there is not going to totally throw you off. But especially in the beginning, like, I don't give myself the option to just slip up. And I don't say, well, it needs to fit my lifestyle. It needs to fit. Yeah, of course it fits your lifestyle, but it's also a priority. And so it's like making health and fitness and nutrition a priority in my life. And I don't give myself the option to not do it, you know? And if I see myself struggling in one area, or I see something as a problem in one area, I adjust. and I try to make it work into my life, and that's just what I do. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I'm sure it's really long, and I hope that I didn't ramble too much. Just things that I just think are so important if you guys want to start, and I really believe that health and fitness and nutrition and just being the best version of yourself is so important. I think it's so important to remember that you're unique and that you're worth it. And if you guys have any questions or anything, please let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. If you have any other videos that you want to see on this topic or similar topics or anything, let me know. You know, again, leave a comment in the comment section below. I love to hear from you. I love your suggestions. If you guys want to be an everyday starlet and become a better version of yourself, I believe that health and fitness and nutrition are all a part of that. I believe they're all a part of living a more glamorous life. So if you want to be an everyday starlet, be sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.